Hello and welcome to Kabal TV and welcome to my scuffed video quality Tellarknight deck profile. Now, first of all, I'm sorry that the quality is pretty poor, but it's the best I'm working with at the moment. But I still thought I wouldn't let that stop me from getting this Tellarknight brew out to all of you. Now, I picked this up recently, and this is an early preliminary build. I filled around with a bit last night, and it's pretty consistent. You can turn skip pretty consistently, and if you're not turn skipping, you can set up a pretty decent board with like a few interaction points. So let's get into the build, right? So first of all, with the main deck, so with any Tellarknight Constellar deck, you're pretty much gonna want to have your 3 Deneb. This guy is great. You can just hard summon him to get a search, or you can use Caduceus, the XYZ, which we'll get into later, to proc his effect from deck, essentially. So he's really good to have at 3 in the deck. Another great 3 of is the new Tellarknight Lyran. This card lets you special summon itself out anytime a Constellar or Tellarknight monster is summoned to your field, it summons from the hand. And when it's summoned, you can add a Tellarknight spell from your deck to hand, and that is pretty good because they cancel both of the targets that we play in the deck. So on top of that, I like to run 2 Tellarknight Alteran. This guy's great. He's great as a pseudo interruption on your opponent's turn, because when he's summoned, you can target and pop cards on the field up to the number of dark or light XYZ monsters you control. So often you can have easily 1 or 2 of them in your end board, and then pop 1 or 2 on your opponent's turn. There's a few great ways to summon this guy, but he has his own effect to summon himself from the graveyard anytime a Constellar or Tellarknight monster is summoned to your field. So he's really good to send to the graveyard with a card that's coming up soon. But first, his alternate version, the OG Tellarknight Altair, we like to run it 2 copies. He's great for setting up the turn skip turn 1, just getting extra bodies onto the field. He's not great for OTKing because he locks you into Tellarknight monster attacks for the turn. I will mention that the Altarian locks you into only XYZ monster attacking, which is a lot easier to get an OTK on the crackback after skipping their turn. But Tellarknight Altair is great for setting up turn 1 boards and setting up nice boards, because he will special summon a Tellarknight from the graveyard on summon. So pretty good. Then we play 2 copies of Vega because he special summons from hand, just helps you extend. Yeah, helps get the turn skip on viable. Essentially for the turn skip, you're just trying to get 5 monsters on the field with your spell card, and then you can do it pretty easily. So then we run 2 Tellarknight Unicolai. We like to run this guy because he can send a Tellarknight from deck to grave. Sending the Altarian is actually really strong. And yeah, he's a really good card. And then we play 1 copy of Sirius because he's a great recycler. He can target 5 Tellarknight monsters in your graveyard, including extra monsters, and shuffle them back into the deck to draw a card. And you can reborn him and recycle him with cards like Altair. So you only really need 1. You can search him with Deneb. He comes up. He's good. For the Constellar monsters, we're playing 3 Caduceus. This card's really good. It can special summon itself whenever you control a Constellar monster. Now, that's a lot easier in this deck because the Altarian and the Lyran count as Constellar monsters at all time, and so does your Constellar Caduceus. On the extra monster that we'll get into, but we like to also... Oh, sorry, we'll get into his effects. He can special summon himself when you control Constellar, and it's great for extension like that, and he's also got a ignition effect to search for a Constellar spell trap, which we do play a target for, which is really great. So we like to max out on 3 of him. Then we have 1 Sheraton. You can play 2 if you're worried about bricking on it, because if you do open it, it does turn off the little combo with Caduceus on the extra deck, but honestly, just play 1. It's fine. I only have 1 though, so it's fine. Then we have some level 4 extenders. These can really be anything. I saw a lot of people playing like Saitama. I just got a copy of Photon Thrasher and then 3 copies of Goblinberg. You can open your play, special summon a Photon Thrasher, get an extra body on field. Same with Goblinberg. Essentially, any 2 level 4s in this deck can end with a Infinity, and any 2 level 4s, including a Constellar or Tellarknight monster, can end with a Pleiades and a Infinity. And then we play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Just a nice little hand trap to have in the deck, just in case you're going second. It's the most versatile hand trap. Then that's it for the monsters. It's a pretty solid lineup of monsters. Not too much that you'd want to change. Pretty solid lineup. Then we have the 1 reinforcements of the army, because almost your entire deck is warriors. Monster Reborn, because extending an extra monster on the field can really go a long way to either helping you turn skip or helping you set up an extra point of interaction. So it can be great. And then we have Call by the Grave, just because it's a nice one to help insulate against hand traps just a little bit. 2 Tellarknight Skybridge. This is one of the Tellarknight cards that we can search with Lyran. This is great for getting into the turn skip, turn 1, because you use this to send back Caduceus and extend more. Then we have the Constellar Tellarknights at 3, because this card is a Constellar card and a Tellarknight card, so you can search it with Caduceus and you can search it with Lyran. To explain what these cards do real quick, the Tellarknight Skybridge essentially just tags out a Tellarknight monster on the field back to the deck or extra deck and special summons a Tellarknight from your deck. Can be great to help extend, great to protect against interruption. The caveat is, while that monster is on the field, you can only special summon Tellarknight monsters. Not the worst drawback in this deck, honestly. And then for the Constellar Tellarknights, this card is cracked goo crazy. This card lets you, on activation, special summon a Constellar or Tellarknight monster from your hand or graveyard. So it can just be a Monster Reborn, or it can help you get a Vega out of the hand from more extension, etc. Also, it has a great effect while it's on the field. You can target a, you can take a Constellar or Tellarknight XYZ monster and overlay on top of it 1 Constellar or Tellarknight XYZ monster with a different rank. So we use this for the turn 1 turn skip, and also it's just great for making boards and extending and playing through interruption. Very searchable too, so it's great, but you can actually activate 3 through the course of a long game, because you can only activate 1 per turn, and having 1 for the follow-up is really nice. And I'll show you a couple of little combos that you can do in a little bit. But first, we'll finish with the traps. This can be sort of anything. Since we're playing Tellarknights, I wanted to play the 3 copies of Stellar Nova Alpha, because it's just a free Omni Negate that gets you a draw at the cost of attributing us a Tellarknight monster, which is really easy to get one floating on the field. 2 Imperm to round out the pseudo hand traps, and it's just a nice trap too. And then to bring us to 41 cards, I play 2 Crackdown. They're pretty nice in this meta. Steal your opponent's monster, they can't use it for anything, it's pretty good. I don't mind playing a 41 build in this deck, because there is so much searching and sending from the deck going on. You thin the deck like crazy. So that's the main deck. Pretty nice. I'm happy with it so far. The extra deck, we have for the extra deck, we have 2 Tellarknight Tomius. This card is crazy. It has a lot of good effects. The first one is that you can, once per chain, as a quick effect, detach 3 materials from this card and then overlay a light XYZ monster, or just one XYZ monster that's one rank higher, except a number monster, by using this card as material. So we use that. You can use it to go into a Pleiades or a Infinity through Dragon Nova. So the other effects, you can detach 7 materials from this card to skip your opponent's next turn. So that's the turn skip I was talking about. You can get this accomplished by having, well, I'll show you the combo in a little bit, but it's pretty easy to do. So we have 2 Ptolemaeus. Then we have the star of the deck, the other all-star of the deck, Tellarknight, Constellar, Caduceus. Tellarknight card and a Constellar card in the name, and it is crazy. On summon, you can add back and or a Tellarknight card and or a Constellar card from your grave. So if you have both in the grave, you can add 2 back on summon. And then his ignition effect is that you can detach one, or you can banish a Constellar monster from your hand or deck and detach one material to make this card's resolving effect be the normal summon effect of whatever you send. Very crazy. Very crazy. Very good. Both effects are hard ones. But you can still summon him multiple times, and he's 2+ level 4 monsters. So this is the guy who's helping enable the Tellarknight Ptolemaeus. Because with our 1 copy of Constellar M7, we can overlay on top of Caduceus, and then have this overlaid on top with the Tellarknight, Constellar Tellarknights. So pretty strong. So yeah, 1 M7, he's great just to overlay on top of guys so you can modulate back into a level 4. Stuff like that. Also, if you modulate into him with the spell, he will have access to his bounce immediately. Next we play 1 Constellar Pleiades. This guy is great. You can make him by ranking up with the spell or using Ptolemaeus. He's a quick effect, bounce a card from the field to the hand. This is actually really great because you can, on your turn skip, you usually end with like this and a Constellar Tellarknights on the field and like a bunch of guys in grave. So then on your next turn, even with no other follow-up, you can use Constellar Tellarknights to rank him up into Pleiades, detach, and bounce this back to hand, and now you can extend and you just need to put game on board. Okay. Next. For the Constellar monsters to round up the lineup, we have 1 Diamond. He's great for, in the main phase 2, you can overlay over a guy to get into him. You can modulate into him. He is great against dark decks. You can negate and destroy dark effect once per turn with a detach, and he has some effects like he stops. What is it? Well, this card is material. Neither player can send cards from the deck to the graveyard, and any card that returns from the graveyard to the hand is banished instead. And then during either player's turn, when an opponent's dark monster activates its effect, detach 1 from this material, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. Really solid card. Then we have 1 Dark Tellarknight's Boltimus. This allows you to 2 level 4 Tellarknights to get into him, and then you discard a card and overlay one of these guys on top of him. We have Trevere. When he's summoned, he bounces everything on the field back to the hand. Really great. Really good accidental synergy with the crackdowns. But yeah, he's really good. He also gets you Tellarknights, Constellar Tellarknights back to the hand. And also you can detach 1 from him to randomly discard 1 card from your opponent's hand. And then to finish off the Constellars, Satellas, we have a Del Tauros. On summon, it's like, well, this card is material. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects when you normal special summon a monster. And once per turn, you can detach one material to target a card in the field and destroy it. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Tellarknight monster from your hand or deck. So he floats. He's really great. And you can bring him back with Gaga Magician, which is 2 level 4s, and you can detach a material to special summon a XYZ monster from your grave back to the field. It has its effects negated, but you can summon it in attack mode to attack with it, so he can represent over 4,000 damage in a single exceed, which is really great for getting the OTK on the crackback after you skip their turn. Because if you skip their turn and then do nothing, well, like, and you don't kill them, you know, what are you really, it's not that great. And then this guy can sort of be any rank 4 you want. I have an Evil Swarm Exoton Knight just for clearing boards. He could be an Abyss Dweller, anything you really want. And then we have the Nova and Infinity package. You make this by detaching 3 from Ptolemaeus. You make Nova, and then you slap an Infinity on top. And then, of course, since we're playing an Xyz deck, you gotta run the 1 Zeus, just for good measure. Okay, now we'll really quickly touch on the side deck before some combos. Side deck can really be whatever you want. Base it on the meta that you're in, the locals that you go to, that sort of thing. But as a rule of thumb, you want some hand traps to help you go second, and some board breaking cards going second, and maybe just a couple cards to help you if you know to bolster your strategy going first. So in that vein, we have some hand traps like Ghost Spell, Nibiru, and Droll and Lockbird. Some board breaking cards like Lightning Storm, some Floodgates for going first in Summon Limit, and then just some more going first cards in Strike. They can help you going first, just put an extra negate on the board. So that's the main extra inside. That is the Tellarknight Constellar deck profile. Thanks for watching. But if you want some quick combos, we'll just go through a really quick couple. So first, say you're sort of bricking and you've just got like a level 4 extender and any Tellarknight Constellar card. And that's all, right? Okay, so basically, you're getting your 2 monsters on field, so this way, this hand will be normal summon Goblinberg, and then special summon Sirius. Yeah, there's no effect blocking here. What we can do is go in overlay. Go ahead and overlay it into Caduceus. No on-summon effect, but we can detach specifically the Tellarknight Constellar monster. And then we will be using the effect to banish a Deneb to add a Lyran. Cool. Next, we rank up the Caduceus into M7, which will trigger the Lyran to summon, which will activate its effect to search Tellarknights. From here, we activate Tellarknights. On activation, we can summon the Constellar Tellarknight monster that we detached back. Now we can use the Tellarknights to rank modulate the M7 into a Ptolemaeus. Ptolemaeus can detach 3 material to summon Infinity. Put him up here. And we'll just keep him here for the sake of viewing. And then you overlay into Infinity. So now you have 1 interruption on field. And with these 2 guys, you can go into a second copy of Ptolemaeus. During the end phase, then here you pass your turn. During the end phase, you can attach 1 Tellarknight XYZ material, XYZ as material to this card. So just take anything that you're not going to use. Then during your opponent's turn in the standby phase, quick effect, detach 3, overlay into Pleiades. And now with a 2-card combo, you've got 2 interactions on field. You've got an on-unigate and a bounce. And you've got the Tellarknights here next turn. So if you don't end up using your Pleiades, you can bounce it back to hand. But yeah, that's your little 2-card combo just with any 2 level 4s, including a Tellarknight monster, because you special summon it out to make the Pleiades. But if you just have 2 level 4s, like 2 extenders, like no names, you can still just make an infinity, right? So that's good to know. And then, yeah, I'm not going to really show you the hand loop, the turn skip. Essentially, what you need to know is that you're trying to get 5 monsters on field, and you're using your Tellarknight Skybridge to tag Caduceus out to get more things on the field, and you're using Tellarknights to extend and modulate. But essentially, if you get 5 guys onto the field, you have 5 random guys onto the field, so you get any 5 guys at the end, you make a Caduceus, and then you overlay the M7 on you overlay the M7 on top, and then you modulate with the Tellarknights into a Thomius, and you have 7 cards on field, so you skip their turn. And what's great about this is you skip their turn, pass, comes straight back to you, you get to draw a card, then you use the Tellarknights to rank up Thomius into Pleiades. Pleiades will detach, add the Constellar Tellarknights back to your hand, and now you can use it to special summon back from the grave, and you're just trying to pretty much you have 2/5, and then you're just trying to get like another 2 exceeds onto the field, so you can like summon a Gaga Magician, and then bring back this, and then yeah, you can poke pretty easily. Alright, well that's pretty much a good summary of the deck and a little bit of what it can do. It's a really fun deck for locals. I would highly recommend it if you can pick it up. I'm sure it's pretty cheap to pick up most of these cards. And yeah, it's a really fun deck. You can do some cool combos, make some solid boards, play back and forth with your opponent. It's not the kind of deck that just sets up an auto win, unless you turn skip your opponent and just kill them with no interaction. It can do that. But otherwise, you're just trying to set up a nice board that can interact and sort of kill them on the crackback, or grind them out of the game. Well, that's been my Tellarknight Constellar deck profile. I like to call it the Tellarknight, the Tellar deck. And yeah, thanks for coming to Kabal TV. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.